Welcome back to the Musicians Talk Show podcast. It is episode number 111, triple ones, 111.
111.
I am one of your two co-hosts for the day, Dallas Dwight.
And I'm Matt Tolley.
And welcome to the show. Cheers.
Hey, cheers. From a distance.
Cheers from a distance. We're still in quarantine. We're still hanging out. I'm sure the coronavirus will pop up in today's topic, but hopefully it's not too centered on that. I do two podcasts now. I do one for my band as well. And it feels like every episode's the same. So every episode of both shows has been the same for like 4 weeks. So hopefully we can bring a little freshness to the chat today.
Yeah, exactly. When something like that's happening and it's like all over the news, it's hard. It's like everybody's talking about it. There's another podcast I listened to when like they follow a TV show, Game of Thrones is what it was. And this girl was on the one podcast. She's on several of them. And she's like, it's so hard because I don't remember what I've already said. Like I keep talking about the same show over and over and over. They do a show per episode.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of what, so like, especially when we were doing weekend reviews, most of my other podcast is like really in-depth breakdowns of those weekend reviews we have because we're all doing those together. Yeah. So I with you, I'll do a weekend review and then I'll turn around on the next episode and tell the same stories. So it's like... Yeah. Exactly. So now one thing different about this show is the Musicians Talk Show. We try to always bring it back to music in some way or another. The other show we're starting to realize is not that way. It's tough to think that because we're all musicians, it usually ends up coming back to music, but it doesn't have to. So we realize like that show is just about us. So whatever we're talking about is what the show's about. It's like last time we were talking about Tiger King a lot, which I still haven't seen and probably won't. Right. So that's just how it is.
You're not going to watch it?
No, I mean at this point.
It's only 7 episodes.
It's how many?
7 episodes.
Oh, that's not that many.
It's not that many at all, and they're you'd be surprised like how entrancing they are. You get like hooked in.
Are they like hour episodes? Because 50 minutes, 60 minutes?
Because of people, they're hour episodes, and it's because the people are crazy, man. We're talking about crazy people. They want to own hundreds and hundreds of tigers and lions and all that. Like they're just crazy. There's no doubt about it. Like it's like the most dangerous crazy cat lady you've ever fucking met. And there's several of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kind of interesting.
It's like it's the same kind of thing. If I hear the phrase "these uncertain times" one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind.
That's so funny, dude. Exactly. I mean, everybody's email, like you see all the emails because of the all the whatever you're associated
Chris
with.
D'Elia was talking
during
about
these
that.
Uncertain times.
He was like, dude, I don't need to hear from Sears. I don't need to hear from Sears. Like,
exactly, dude. I was just thinking that. I was like, dude, who thinks they're so important that they like all these companies that are just like, I've done business with one time need to reach out to me and say, I hope you're doing all right to this coronavirus.
In these uncertain times, dude, it makes me so mad.
Crazy.
It's worse than thoughts and prayers.
But anyways. Yeah, dude, that's the same thing. That's Anthony Jeselnik. Mm-hmm. The thoughts and prayers one, remember?
Yeah, he says he brings like a really good point to it. He's like, what you're really saying is, don't forget about me.
Yeah, look at me is what you're saying. It's an attention getter. It's like I'm recognizing all the pain that you're suffering. Thoughts and prayers.
Don't forget about me.
It's like more of yeah, exactly. It's sad, but that's the truth. Anyways, so what about band updates? What have you guys been doing in the LA maybe?
Not much, just trying to get these virtual rehearsals done. And by virtual rehearsals, we really just are trying to submit videos. I think originally we had planned on actually rehearsing through this, but then it got to the point that it was just like, it didn't make sense to do that anymore. So we called that, but we still had this schedule laid out to learn 4 songs a week. We had the dates inputted in the calendar, everything ready to go. So it was already laid out. So we're like, well, let's still learn those songs, but instead of rehearsing together, just film yourself playing them and, upload them to the band chat or whatever. And we'll review them.
A little bit of accountability. Also, people can see what you're doing.
Right. And it hasn't worked as well as I thought it would, but it's all right. We're working.
It's hard because not everybody has the same stuff, and obviously, like, who knows what everybody's lives are and stuff like that. It's really hard, especially, this is weird. This is a weird situation.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying not to be too big of a dick about it, but it is a little annoying when I can get all my stuff done, but someone else can't,
Yeah. Understandable, man. Like, that's...
and I'm not saying anything specific here, but, like, I have to learn all those guitar solos. Like, I have a whole hell of a lot more work than some of these other dudes. Like...
Yeah, guitar.
So if I can get my stuff done,
work, man, because
I feel like we all
could. People really listen to those guitar solos. Like when you play guitar solos, like cover songs and stuff like that, man, that makes the difference. When I see a cover band and I see the guitar player playing like note for note solos, I'm like, these guys did their work. They, So I know how much work it is. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. But it's all good. You know, we're just trying to stay
trying
to stay flexible in these uncertain times, and
totally. Let's just see how many times we can say uncertain times.
All right, we're up to like 3 or 4 now. We need a little. I'll add a little ding, a little counter to the video here.
So during these uncertain times, how is the original music coming along in the LA Maybe?
This week kind of stalled. Well, except for last night, I dug back into one of our songs.
Is it because of the uncertain times?
I added a virtual choir to it, which sounds pretty awesome. And then I reworked some of the solos, and I think that came out better. So, but other than that,
how do you do a virtual
not much
choir?
to report on the original front this week.
All right. Well, how do you do the virtual choirs? Are you doing one voice stacked on top of each other? Are you doing one voice and then like pitch corrected?
No, this is literally like a virtual instrument. Like so like, you know, like you'd play cellos or whatever else. But
right.
I reactivated my Composer Cloud subscription with a company called East West, and they give you this just flagship suite of products, and they're always adding new stuff to it. And the one they've added since I've had it last is called Hollywood Backup Singers. So I was like, oh, well, I'll try throwing that on the song because we're working on getting a gospel choir for this one part anyway. So I was like, let me, play around with it. So I put some inversions down and throw it on there, and they sound. I mean, so the way they do it is they record real singers and then just put them on the keyboard. So like, it doesn't sound like fake.
Oh, okay.
It's really, really real sounding.
But it works good.
You can hear them vibrato.
Right.
You can hear them like if you hold the note too long, they literally stop because a human's breath can't go that long.
No way.
Yes, it's super realistic.
Cool,
you hear,
that.
When the chord stops, you hear one voice go a little later than the others. Just little stuff like that.
That's cool, man.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I'll have to send it to you.
I mean, I'm blown away. Yeah, definitely send me like the demo of it or whatever. But I'm blown away by what they do with the virtual keys now, dude. All these virtual instruments are so good. Even the ones that are just on GarageBand are like really good.
Yeah, GarageBand actually has some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and it's limited because I don't think you can actually export from GarageBand if I'm correct.
No, I think you can.
So you can.
GarageBand's a full functioning DAW. It just doesn't have a whole lot of power behind it.
I feel like there's limitations behind it though. There's maybe as like I don't even know about song length or I don't know. I'm not really sure about it because I only use it for like little parts. Like if I'm trying to work out a part, I'll get on GarageBand.
Yeah, it's so funny. I've never learned
keys.
or been comfortable in GarageBand yet. I can work in pretty much any other DAW just fine.
Yeah. Well, GarageBand I feel like just has a lot of closed doors. It's not the full production suite. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not everything you need. It's mainly to get people like, do you like this kind of thing? Do you like messing around with instruments online or sounds and stuff like that? I think it's like an introduction.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's free, so that's great.
And included usually, which is even better than free. You already have it if you already have a Mac.
It's already on there. Exactly. So if you're looking around and you happen to stumble upon it, you click on it, you're going to be in it.
Yeah.
Before you even know, you don't have to download it. You don't have to.
I remember. Yeah, my grandparents got a Mac computer way back in the day, and it had GarageBand, and me and my cousins would just sit there and just drag and drop. It was just loops at that point. You drag and drop this guitar loop on top of this drum loop.
See, and what better to get your like gears turning on how DAWs work?
That was way before I played guitar.
Like right, exactly, man. It's crazy. I love it though. So that's what you got for LA Maybe? Working on the
I mean,
cover songs
like anyone else, there's really not so much to report right now.
Right, but it's all in preparation to come out swinging when this is over with, and when we're back in action.
Hopefully,
I love it. Yep. Same thing here as far as Prep and Barium. Like we're just doing working on these demos here. I have David come by once a week, and he's been quarantined too, so we're not going anywhere or anything. But he comes by once a week and do some drum tracks. We work on some new stuff, and we've been working on my car a lot too. So that was another thing. Got my valve cover.
How's that going?
Fixed out. So really good. So it's done now. David's a BMW technician, and my BMW had a valve cover leak, which is approximately like $2,300 of parts and labor and all that stuff. So I bought the parts online and had him come over, and we did it in my dad's shop. So that works.
So how much money did you save doing that, would you say?
Thousands of dollars.
Really?
For sure.
So the parts themselves weren't too expensive?
Nah, not really. I mean, we found some good deals, like middle of the road, because they make a lot of aftermarket parts for that car. So we found like a middle of the road, nothing like if you buy OEM, it's fucking $500 part, but if you buy it like it's more affordable. It's like $250, but you can get it down to $100. But I'm like, I'm not putting a $100 part that's supposed to be $500 in my car.
Yeah, that's a good point. If there's one place you don't want to skimp, it's probably your vehicle that is hurtling you through space at 70 miles an hour.
Exactly.
That's one spot you don't want to try to save a buck.
Exactly, and I trust David's judgment when he tells me that stuff, because he's put in all those different types of valve covers, so he knows what the deal is, And I showed him which one to get. I was gonna get, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the one you want." But yeah, so we did that. It took maybe 6 hours or so tearing apart my car, and getting that swapped out. So
nice.
Hopefully, be back up and running in the BMW. But yeah, just working on the demos and stuff. Really, that's all it is for band updates.
Nice. What do you do with your days?
Dude, I come down. First thing I do is I get up and I eat breakfast, and I come down. I just start playing guitar. Like, no agenda on playing guitar. Just play guitar, see what happens. You know what I mean? Because I feel like when I'm in the early morning, I'm more creative. I don't know what it is, but when I first wake up, my mind just is turning, man. Like, it's not necessarily like I'm really awake, but my mind is just fucking working. I don't know. I like it. You ever play guitar in the morning?
I mean, yeah, I've played guitar at any time of day, but I feel like I did my best work from like lunchtime to like 4 p.m.
Okay. Gotcha. So like mid-afternoon, like your day's already started, you're up and warmed up and you're alive.
Yeah. And then also just at night. But it also just depends on when I feel like doing the work. Then it works out usually.
Yeah, you have to kind of listen to your body or whatever. If you're feeling creative, just fucking go pick up a guitar, see what happens. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing is, like, I allot that like hour in the morning just to play some guitar and really let it come out. And then after that, I just start getting to work, like demos, doing any kind of thing that I need to get done. Social media stuff, trying to stay on top of that stuff, trying to stay on house chores. Obviously, there's stuff to do around the house, got to keep up with and stuff like that. But yeah, now that I'm settled in, it's definitely nice because I had to get all the equipment here and stuff like that, and now that that's all here, it's nice. I wake up and I'm in my studio.
Yeah. So you're in the basement, you said?
Yeah. In the basement, I set up all this stuff in this. Got extra space down here, storage, so it's perfect.
Nice. You guys made some changes to your rehearsal space, I hear.
Yeah. Actually, since we've got all the equipment out of the playroom and we're still paying that monthly rent, basically the Eddie Z hit us up and said, like, listen, can't do anything about the rent. We have to collect on rent, otherwise we're gonna go out of business. So we were like, well, at this point we can't even use the playroom. So if there's not going to be any help financially, like, we have to get out. And that was essentially what we did. Especially since all our instruments were already basically out. Like, we had already kind of moved to a remote location to work on these demos. And the $550 a month is really hard to
yeah, it's weird that there was no help, particularly because you can't use it. That's the weird part for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, if you could still go there and do it, then I totally understand. But you can't go there.
You can.
Oh, well, that's true.
But then the problem is if everybody, if it's open, like, that's the thing. If everybody goes there, though, you're dealing with the same kind of thing you're dealing with in going in public. And you're risking getting the disease or spreading the disease, even worse.
Right, and musicians are not known to be clean people.
No, exactly. In fact, they're lazy and dirty is what they're most. I mean, that's not everybody, but that is what most of them tend to be, As you could tell by just going to the bathrooms at any music rehearsal studio or anything like that, like, especially if there's a lot of traffic, Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. So that's good as far as, like, being ready to come out the other side of this. So that's why we took that step, hopefully saving the money every month. We could put it into something more productive, We'll see what we end up putting it towards, but just definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's cool.
For now.
Yeah,
we can always come back too.
Yeah, true.
So
nice. Cool. What else we got on the agenda?
Yeah. I don't know. We were talking about what you did with Bold Music. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So we had somebody, I guess George, the owner, he had the idea to do like, well, you've probably seen him going around where it's a bunch of different people recorded a song remotely and you see the videos of them working on it and all that stuff. So we did that. They chose Your Song by Elton John. They wanted, he asked me to produce, but I was already a little busy with a bunch of other stuff. So they got Rasan to do it, which is nice. So
cool.
Rasan did the production. I did a little bit of guitar, but mostly I sang the second verse, and then
cool.
Did the videos for that, and I did the video. So that'll be coming out pretty soon, I think, actually.
So everybody sent in their video, and then you spliced all the videos together on the screen to make them all like you see those covers.
Yeah, that's a special challenge because you get some people shot it vertically, some people shot it in poor resolution, some people shot it.
That's awesome
with no light. Some
that's
people,
awesome, but you know what?
Someone shot it vertically but horizontally, if that makes sense. So I had a narrow strip of him sideways like this. So I had to rotate him and blow it up, and it was fun to figure all that out.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did you crop them and make them all uniform, or did you leave them kind of ununiform?
No, they had to be uniform. The one that I couldn't do much with was shot vertical, very narrow. So the lady that sent me her vocals, she framed the shot really nice, and it looked like someone was holding it. So I assumed that person knew what they were doing. So she was in the side. So I put his here next to her. So there's actually two people in one.
Oh, nice.
So
nice. Took a widescreen and made it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So did everybody record into their own DAWs?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Based on people's gear, like a lot of the stuff was just like a phone recording. So.
Right. So even the vocals were recorded with the phone, like the.
No, it just depends on what people had. I think all the people that were singing me and the two others had like full systems and everything.
Okay, cool. Because the singing would be the one thing that you want to like.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
it's really front and center.
Yeah. That's the part that everybody's going to be listening to, really.
Yep.
But yeah, that's cool. So how did you guys do the drums in this situation?
One of the instructors did drums. It looks like he recorded it with just one mic. They sound really cool.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, I've been working on doing these demos. It's weird, like kind of trying different mic things because I obviously don't have a full mic set, but eventually we will. But the
so what is the kit? Are you still doing the full drum kit for the demos?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what are you doing mic wise?
Right now I have the biggest thing that gets drowned out, I think, in when you record a kit in the room is the bass drums, the kick drums. I feel like. So I put a mic in each kick drum, and just like I don't care that they're not the same or whatever. Like they'll be close enough, and it's really subtle what I'm adding to it, anyways. So I got them two on the kick, one in the room, and then one overhead the cymbals. And actually, I think you can still see it probably. Right there. So that's the SM57, and I just cut all the low end out of the SM57, pick it up the top end, put a little bit of drum ambience effect on it to give it a room sound. Mm-hmm. And then the room mic that I have is my vocal mic, and then the two kick drums. And dude, I'm pretty impressed with it, at least for a demo and just to get the idea of what the drums are doing and, have it all there. It's perfect. And then, we're looking into drum mics, and actually we should probably talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, what are your choices? What have you been looking at?
Yeah, we took into just looked at all the different options available. Obviously, there's low-end models, there's high-end models. The ones that I really like and I'd love to get are the Audix, the D series. I think they're D.
You said
series.
Audix B series.
There's an F series. I think they're D with it as in dog.
D as in dog.
Yeah, and then the F series is the more affordable, cheaper one, which I thought about going with, but
so here's the Audix for the D 5-piece drum microphone set. Yeah, I mean, they call all their things D. Like you have the D6 is the kick drum, the D4 is the floor tom, and the D2s are the regular toms. So there you go, D2. Then they have the I5, which is essentially just an SM57.
Exactly.
I actually don't like that as much as an SM57, but if you have it, you have it.
Nice.
Now they have a lot of Sweetwater
I wondered that.
has a lot of Audix drum mic packs. Let's see here.
Right, and you could use that SM57 like the i5. You can use that on top toms too, but it's kind of bulky for up there because you're mounting them on the rim, so it's heavy. Mm-hmm. So I was gonna look into getting the little. I like the smaller ones, the really like short compact mics. They look the same except they just have like this much behind them.
You're talking about the tom mics?
Yeah, what are they called again?
D2s,
I don't have it up in front of me. Yeah.
D2 and D4.
So those, right.
D4, it has a red grate. It's kind of hard to see in these pictures, but it has a red grate, and it has more bass response. You can kind of see it there. Right. It's a little more red if you look over here above me.
Right. Those are the newer, fancier models, and I was definitely considering like getting like a couple different, maybe even getting like one of those and getting the kit because I still need to add some to the kit. Like the kit doesn't have enough for me, the 7-piece kit.
Right.
So I was thinking about maybe just throwing in one of those guys, doing some comparisons, and if it was like oh wow, this is way better, then I'm gonna get another one of these.
Yeah.
Also, like the kick drum thing, instead of getting another kick drum, we have a double bass pedal that's connected, so you have two beaters on one bass drum.
Right.
We have that option as well. So in my case, and and right now I just told you we're recording both kick drums in the demos, but that's just because of whatever. It's just whatever rough takes and stuff, rough demos. But when you do it, you really want to get that consistent bass drum sound. So you mic up one bass drum and put the double beaters on one kick drum. And that's something, me and Dallas have talked about that extensively. Like, that's
what they do for most studios, I think. And I mean, unless you have, techs there that are like the biggest drummers in the world that really feel strongly about using their 2 kick drums. Right. Well, they have a fleet of techs that'll make sure it's ready to go. They don't even have to do that. They're not even there for that.
Exactly. I guarantee you Machine recorded, when he recorded Chris Adler, I guarantee he recorded him with separate kick drums, just because. You know what I mean?
You think so?
I don't think he would have. Yeah,
I bet they did one kick. I know they did the feet separately from the hands.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's a good point. Because they were worried about the drowning out.
But it just goes to show you that what you see live is almost never what's happening in the studio. Just because the guy has 8 kick drums live, he probably recorded with 1.
Exactly.
Just to make it sound good.
And that wasn't my point at all. I just wondered if for him, and he's used to his double pedals, would it be just like, would they just suck it up and do the engineering work to make it sound right?
I don't know. Or I never really knew there was that big of a difference between 2 kicks and a double kick, but.
Well, the hard part about it is tuning the drums the same is what I think is what they say.
Yeah, no, I got that. I just didn't know it would feel that different to play on 2 kick drums versus 1 kick drum with a double pedal.
Oh, yeah, and I think it takes a little bit of compensation because that pedal that's coming from the extension bar, you're losing power. The gap in between the bar and the knob that it's sitting on, there's a slight, looseness to it. Like there's not fully tight, like it's so tight you can't fucking, like it doesn't move at all. It jiggles a little bit. So when you push that pedal, there's that loss in movement there that doesn't do anything for a minute. They call it play is what they call it. And then that's what what you do is you compensate for it. You take that, you make that pedal a little bit more advanced. So that way when you push it, you know what I mean? It's, even though there's a delay, it's already advanced. So you compensate.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I have some Audix mics pulled up here on Sweetwater. This is the one that I've always wanted. It's called the Audix Studio Elite 8. It's an 8-piece drum microphone kit. So you get all the normal Audix stuff, the i5, the D6, D4, 2 D2s. You even get one of these little hi-hat mics, but I don't remember. It doesn't say what that one's called, at least right here where I can see.
You get 3 overheads. But where you go, the
SCX1. But where you get, and the reason it's so much more expensive is because of these guys right here, this lollipop-looking microphone, the SCX25A. I've heard amazing things about those microphones. For drum overheads is what they're intended for in this package, but they're also really good on acoustics, pianos.
Yes.
I did a lot of research on those. So with this one pack right here, you're pretty far along with every studio microphone you could need. You get a large diaphragm condenser along with this for vocals and whatnot, and you're pretty good to go. And an SM57 or whatever, but you could even use this i5 for a 57 if you wanted for like guitar cabs and stuff. Right. So but yeah, these two right here, like let's look them up alone. They're like $1,500 or something. So that's most of the price in that reason the pack's $2,500.
Yes,
but those lollipops alone are I mean, for 2 of them is $1,600. So yeah, most of that price is coming from those. One of those lollipops is $800
a microphone. Yeah. So and that's something like you got to take into consideration what you're doing. Are you? That's a lot of money to spend, is what I'm saying. So are you planning on keeping these mics and recording all your future drum tracks with these mics, or are you opening a studio? Or are you gonna be recording other bands with it? Because that's a lot of money to drop on something for making demos for sure. Like you definitely don't need
definitely.
That to
make
demos.
Not. I mean, you could make demos with those for sure, but yeah, those are like
it could.
Those are
for sure. That'd be pretty good sounding demos.
Those are final mics. Those are good mics.
Yeah. And I'd love to drop that kind of money on them. I just got to kind of consider like where we're putting our money and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, for you guys, I don't think it makes too much sense. Yeah, you're right.
No, because I don't have a board good enough to import that kind of sound, that high quality sound in. You know, like I need a more high quality board. Or what I really like are those Apogee the Symphonies. I would love to get one of those. Then I would be fucking down to record some drums. So you know what the Symphony is?
Let's look it up.
16-channel version of what the Duet is.
Yeah, those Apogee things are so expensive though.
Yes, they're
$3,500 for this one.
Yeah.
Apogee Symphony IO Mark II 8x8.
8x8.
This says 8x8.
16, right? That's 16, right?
No, I see one for 8x8, and it's $3,500.
8x8 would only be 8 inputs then?
Usually 8 in, 8 out. Yeah.
Okay, so then that's that one. Then I thought there was a 16-channel one, but maybe I'm wrong.
Here's a 16x16 for almost $5,000.
Yeah, okay, $5,000. So yeah, I know they make different ones, and that was like maybe 10 years ago when they made all that kind of like, they were just like, wow, look, and then we can make this and make this. And the Apogee was the first one, the little duet one was the first one. And everybody kind of went crazy for it. But actually, you know what? It was a Uno. There was like a single input version of it. And then they came out with the duet. And when they came out with the duet, I think that's when they kind of really started like, wow, everybody was really impressed with it.
Yeah. The Apogee stuff's pretty expensive though. I always remember that. Even that little single one, it's like one channel. It's like $800.
Yep. And it's Mac only. So if you have a Windows device, you can't even use it.
Interesting. This is the one right here. The Apogee Duet. Okay, so it's two. It's $700 roughly. So it's a little wrong.
Yes, and that's the one I bought in the very beginning, and I've used that thing for so much guitar tracking and vocal tracking, and it's amazing. The preamps on it are absolutely amazing. And that's why I would consider getting the 8 or 16 channel.
Yeah, because you're getting that same thing with just more of them.
Yes, and it's such a crystal clear preamp, man. I recorded the vocals for Blackmagic on that and sent it to you. So, you kind of get a like understanding like that. It's a clean sounding input,
Yeah.
Really just doesn't color it, That's what you want. So you really hear the mics that you're using. You really hear the equipment that you're using, and the recording device isn't changing that. That's a lot of what recording is. It's trying to get that sound what it sounds like in the room, but perfectly crystal. Like you want that crystal clear sound. You know what I mean? The replication, like perfect replication, essentially.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the thing is, like when you're using microphones, you're never going to perfectly hear what you hear because your ear's not sitting right next up against to the snare drum.
Exactly. So then
when you take
those close mics, right? You take those close mics and you make them sound like they're in a room, and that's where the software can really like make things sound amazing. But you can't just put a microphone in a room and expect it to sound like what that room sounds like, because the microphone can only take in so much inputs, and like it's gonna lose quality somewhere. You know what I mean? It's gonna lose clarity, I guess is really what it's losing. You can't separate. You can't isolate.
Yeah.
So it sounds more all together, one conglomerate thing.
Yep. Man.
So that's where recording, with high quality mics and all that, and close mics, and adding all your, effects afterwards and stuff like that. That's why you get such a crystal clear drum sound.
Yeah, for sure. Nice.
I don't
drum
know.
mics, man.
We hardly ever talk about drum mics, but
yeah, I could talk about drum mics all day. I love that stuff.
I know.
I've gone down the rabbit hole many times with that stuff.
Yep. Have you ever? You guys have? I know Foz has a drum mic kit.
He has one of those Audix packs, but it doesn't have the lollipops. It just has the 2 regular condensers, and those are good too.
Right.
We use those for overheads or hi-hat or whatever.
But you know what though? You could always upgrade and add those.
Yeah, you could just buy them individually or the pack or whatever for sure.
Exactly, and that's something I considered too when we were doing this. Is I was like, well, maybe I'll just buy the kit that gets us this far, and then later on, if we really want to go the holy shit package, we'll get the overhead mics that really help the whole sound. Really, that's
and like you said, it just depends on your goals.
Sure. Yeah, depending on what you're recording on.
Unless you plan on making money in a studio, you probably don't need that. At least to start, unless you just want it and can afford it.
Yeah. That reminds me too. I mean, on the topic of recording drums, we might as well mention the Richie Kotzen video where he goes into a studio. He did it with Young Guitar, which he's been doing a lot of work with lately. I kind of wonder about that. They're like a Japanese guitar company, magazine company, not guitar company. And they went into his studio basically and broke down all his recording process, all his equipment and all his instruments and all that stuff. And it was pretty cool. And he talked about his drum recording. The funny thing about it is, like, I remember when he was talking about the drum kit that he bought, that he's had for like all these solo albums and stuff like that. He went to Guitar Center. He's like, I'm gonna buy drum kits for doing solo work and stuff like that. And he goes to Guitar Center, and before he even gets in the store, there's a guy in the parking lot selling his drum kit out of the back of his truck. And Richie's like, hey, what are you doing with these? He goes, trying to sell them, man. And he goes, oh, how much you want for them? $500. He bought this drum kit for $500, and he's used it on all his solo albums.
Did he say what it was, or we would just saw it?
Yeah, I think he said what it was. I can't remember, but you can see it too. Yeah, so I even if you didn't say what it was, it's there.
Right.
And it's simple, man. It's it's not a fucking 10-piece drum kit. It's it's 5 pieces maybe altogether.
Yeah, like I mean, really a lot of the highest end studio kits are 4 pieces. And then they'll have a big selection of snares.
For that type of music, that's what you want. That's what you need. You need something that's gonna serve the song and not get in the way. A lot of that stuff, singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Richard Kotzen style.
Yeah, I would consider him a singer-songwriter for sure.
Definitely. I mean, he's
even though his stuff skews more rock, but
Right. He has way more of a I don't know, a technical ability than just a normal singer-songwriter because he's
true. Yeah.
Virtuoso on an instrument. Like, it's just crazy. He could just be a lead guitar player on any.
And he was in Poison. Yeah.
Right. He was in Poison. He was in Mr. Big.
Yeah, he replaced Paul Gilbert, and he played
right.
Green Tinted 60s Mind. That intro, he actually played it differently. He played it like all, I think, hybrid picked or something, where Paul uses a bunch of tapping for it.
Right. So he hybrid picked it. That makes sense because he's a finger-style player, Richie is. That's cool. I'd have to listen to that. But yeah, so he could be a fucking lead guitar player in his own right, but he's just an amazing singer-songwriter. So
yeah, I have to believe, just based on what he puts out, that he prefers singing and writing to playing guitar.
I think so.
Because if he preferred playing guitar, he'd do what Slash does and just play guitar, never sing, never do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, but he seems to.
There it is. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the different types of players there are. You know, that's a really good example. Like, there's a player like Slash who rarely uses his voice, very rarely.
He doesn't even talk that much.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, rarely uses his voice, not just vocals, you know, or whatever, but just talking. He doesn't use his voice. And he's said in interviews, and other people have said it for him, that his instrument is the guitar. The guitar is his vocal instrument. That's what he vocalizes through. And you can hear it, man. That's why it sounds so great, you know?
Well, that's what Duff says, too. He's not even, he doesn't, like, it's not that, it's just like he doesn't talk that much. He prefers not to really talk.
Right.
It's just that's how he is. So
that's not how he prefers to
I think it probably started,
express himself.
Based on reading his book and other people's accounts, it started with, I think, some pretty severe shyness. And that's why he ended up growing his hair and wearing the shades, because he could just sit in his little tunnel and he didn't have to look at anyone.
Yeah.
And no one could see him, you know, like an ostrich.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So he's just really like a recluse, almost. Like
that's kind of how I am with the reason I wear glasses too, is partly because I close my eyes so much. And I don't want people to be like, this guy's not looking at us at all. He's just, his eyes are closed the entire show.
Right.
Particularly when I'm singing.
There's that.
I don't want to lose that connection, or at least the perceived connection. So I kind of cover that up. But it's also nice to kind of hide behind something.
Exactly. I wear sunglasses on stage all the time. Mainly, I don't like the stage lights that fucking point right at your fucking eyes.
Yeah, that's true too.
My number one. That's my number one thing. And then the other thing, I actually don't like looking at people in the eyes while I'm playing.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know if it's the singing, though. To be honest, I feel like it's more, not because of the guitar playing, but it's more because of the singing. Because I feel like when you look at somebody in the eyes while you're singing, it feels like you're singing to them, no matter what. Like, it could be,
and they
I could
love
be singing
that.
a love song, and there could be a guy that I make eye contact to, like right in one split second, and I was like, "Whoa, that's weird." Like, I don't want to fucking. There's something weird about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. And I
well,
also
that's
don't
why
like pitching at people.
I mean, fans love that. Now, granted, our bands aren't at the level where fans quote love that. It's mostly our friends and shit. But if you go to a big show with a big band and he's looking at you while he's singing, you like
right
that.
At you,
you're like, "Oh, that's awesome."
And I know that. I do like that. Yeah. Yeah, I do like that. But for me, I think it's the singing, to be honest, because the guitar playing never bothered me. But if a singer, you know, and this is what I don't see a lot, like, you don't, I'm thinking about myself in a concert, right? And the guitar player notices me. He notices me having a good time, and he comes over and looks at me, and he's playing the riff, and he's like, yeah. You know, like, I love that. That's hands down the coolest thing ever. Like, if you're going to a show and the guitar player acknowledges you, that's awesome, especially if you're a huge fan. The singing part, I can't say that I've ever had a singer come up to me and just sing right to my face.
Yeah, I think you'd mostly see that with like Backstreet Boys or, you know, Bruno Mars, that kind of stuff. Pop.
You know what, though? What just popped into my head is Steel Panther, dude. Steel Panther, he'll get right in your fucking face.
That makes sense, though, because like you're saying, it's almost like for comedic effect. He's using that connection for like comedic effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's almost like he's like, yeah, we're having a good time. Look at, we're here, we're doing this, you know, and it's very, you know, it's very right. But the music that I sing, if I'm singing something like, I don't know, we'll say Love Lies, for example, and I'm singing right to somebody, I can't stand the lies. It almost seems like I'm yelling at them. And especially like the way I vocalize on stage is like a loud like thing. It almost feels like it's too intense to be pointing it at somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I could point it at a whole.
I don't think anyone else would feel that, but I mean, if you feel that, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. No, I know. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's basically my own emotions get in the way of it all, but it's not necessarily like something I shouldn't do, but it's just something that it happens.
Right.
Hey, how about this? As a singer and songwriter yourself, whenever you play a song to one person, how does that feel? Even if it's not a love song, even if it's not like that, but you're playing a song and there's one person in the room, obviously that one person's gonna feel like not comfortable enough to like let loose, right? Like they're not gonna like, holy shit, yeah, and they're like headbanging in the room while
unless it's a weird person, and those do exist.
Right. And well, I have met some people like that, but they were on drugs, so that's a different thing. But yes, like the singing and playing to one person is similar to that feeling that I get when I'm like opening my eyes or letting or eye contact with people.
Right.
It's the same kind of feeling.
Yeah. But
it's something you have to get over because obviously artists are going to have to do that. Oh, that just reminded me of something really funny. You ever listen to the podcast by NPR? What is it called?
I don't listen to NPR, so probably not.
Shit. Well, there's a podcast. I can't think of what it's fucking called right now, but I heard one a long time ago, and it was this guy who wrote an album, singer-songwriter, not too famous, but had some success. And this couple hit him up. They were going through a rough time. His song was one of the songs that made them get together. And so it was really special to them and stuff like that. And the guy reached out to the singer and said, "Hey, would you be willing to come and play this song, for me and my girlfriend or whatever? It's our anniversary," some shit like that, right? He didn't know that they were going through trouble and stuff like that. So he said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Shows up in their living room, and the girl is totally blown away, obviously. They, sit down on the couch. He plays them this song, and it didn't seem like there was even much dialogue. It sounded like he just came in, sat down with his guitar, and played it. That's just the way the story kind of sounded to me. And they got back together because of it. And I was like, could you imagine being that artist? Or it fixed their problems, whatever. But could you imagine being that artist sitting in the... It's like, wow. And then he found out all this later, that they were going through a rough patch, and he saved their marriage, relationship, whatever it was. That's a weird one.
Yeah, I don't think that... I don't think that's really about you, though, The artist at that point.
But doesn't it feel weird? Because obviously that song is somehow attached to you, right? Like that song means something to the artist, I'd imagine. So him to go and see it work on people or see it like affect people.
I bet it's pretty powerful in that way. That's further proof that when you're an artist and you release art, once you release it, you only own half or less than half of it.
Yes, I agree. I agree that you don't even take into consideration what your song means to these other people, and that is what you take into consideration. That's not the word I was looking for, but you.
Well, I don't think you can really comprehend.
You kind of lose. Right, you lose it. You can't hold on to it. Like when you write a song in that moment, you might be able to feel that. I don't even know. Maybe. Yeah, it's something you can't comprehend for other people. What it means to other people, for sure. But at the same time, like you understand how powerful it was for you at the moment, because know the feeling when you write a song and it came out of nowhere almost, and it's just like you're like, wow, like I can't believe that came out, and then like you're kind of impressed with yourself, but also you're like, it's connected to you, so you're like, wow, that's me. That's I don't know, I can't even explain it, but that to me would be very weird if somebody called me and asked me to play a song for just them two in the room. I don't know. I'd probably have to decline.
Yeah, that'd be pretty weird, especially if it was like out of town.
Strangers, total strangers. I don't know, but he said like for him the story was a overall positive. He said it gave him a new outlook on what his music can do and all that. So I guess I could see it that way too.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that. That would be a powerful moment as an artist.
Yeah,
like for example, Train has a song called "Marry Me," which is a sweet song about exactly what you think it's about.
Yes.
And most of the time when they play it live, someone proposes to someone else in the audience. Like most of the time, like almost every show.
If you're going to the Train show and you're going to propose to your chick, "Marry Me" is the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
It's like my just acoustic, though. It's really nice.
Yeah. I know the song well, actually. My brother, his wedding, his wife walked down the aisle to that song.
Yep. And that's another place it's played. How smart is that? How genius is that? They're getting paid every time that happens.
Sure, man. Well, not at the wedding. They didn't get paid, that's for sure. But
well, they're getting paid from ASCAP because the song's being played, or BMI or wherever.
If it's tracked, like if you're streaming
that's true, but most wedding venues are going to have the blanket license. I don't know exactly how the details of that work, but...
Yep. Yeah, technically they should get paid, and they will be recognized. How about just the fact that they're going to pay dividends on that song for the years that couples together, like every anniversary of that song they're going to play, like... And then millions of couples around the world.
It's a good song, too. It's well written.
It's a great song. Great song.
For that thing.
Yep. Great song.
I remember learning that at one point, that fun little finger pick C chord.
Yeah. I never learned the rhythm to it, but I did like what did I do? I played like this lead thing over it at one point because I was just messing around with it. I was kind of exploring with improvising leads and stuff like that. So it was acoustic, so it was a cool way to do an improvised lead on acoustic guitar. And it sounded good. That song really lends itself to some lead guitar playing. So, and it doesn't have a lot in it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Man, Train's one of my favorite bands. They're
killer.
They're just so good. Their shows really have like a religious feel to them. Not in like a religious sense, but it has that kind of feel of like just like collective movement. Like everyone feels the same thing, you know?
Yeah. That's powerful too when you can feel that in a room.
Yeah, Knocking on Heaven's Door. When Guns plays Knocking on Heaven's Door, it has the same effect too.
Yeah, especially since everybody knows the chorus and you know when it comes in, people are going to sing it. Like that's actually why I love listening to there's two versions of Knocking on Heaven's Door. There's the studio version and there's the live version. For me, dude, like why would you not listen to the live version? It's so cool. Like we've got Tracy and Roberta here to help you.
We do the live version exactly word for word, all of that.
I love it, dude.
Tracy and Roberta here to help you. Every we got one more time to go. Every little thing he says, we do.
I think you know the words.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yep.
I love
we have
it,
all
dude.
that written out on the prompter and everything.
Perfect. Yeah, dude. Because that's the way they did it too. They did it in all the shows. They did it that same way. It was a rehearsed thing. It seemed loose and stuff like that, but it was part of the show, man.
That's kind of what we do too. Like we know where it's going, but Goliath is the one that's driving the train. So if he chooses to wait 8 bars instead of 6, then we're just chilling out and waiting on him, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, he has the power to work the room as much as he wants there, I guess.
I want to hear Goliath say, "Give me some reggae."
Yeah, we changed that part, actually. We did change that. We say, "Give me some rock and roll," and we double time it, and we just shred. It's so much fun, dude. Awesome. It's my favorite part of that whole song. It really, really works.
That's cool as hell. What other, I think you told me earlier that you were working on new GNR song coming up. What songs you guys adding?
Yeah, this week, they're due today, actually. We have Perfect Crime off Use Your Illusion 1.
Yes.
Which is, that song is like 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
It's a perfect crime.
Yeah, dude. It's like 2 minutes and 12 seconds, I think. And it just blazes by. There's so many riffs. Every part is different than the last part. And it's really fun. And then Used to Love Her, which has some difficult guitar licks in it that I didn't expect. I expected that song to be a joke. But there's some pretty difficult stuff in there. For the lead
the song
part.
is a joke. Most of our songs, are based on an element of truth, but this one's written more as a joke. That's what Axl says. And like,
have you seen the Forensic File episode where somebody literally killed his wife because of that song?
No. Oh, I did see that. Yes, I think maybe you showed it to me, or I found it somewhere.
That's not funny, but the narrator quoting the lyrics is hysterical. It's so funny. I used to love her. But I had
to
kill her. It's just like, of course, when you say it that way, it sounds horrible.
With that lyric. Right, exactly. Writing out lyrics is always weird anyways, and then when somebody says something like that.
Song is clearly a joke, dude. It sounds like a joke.
It's very much a joke. It's very satirical. It's like, and the live version is another one that's a funny one. He goes, it's kind of like a joke, but every once in a while you want to, cut your
he goes like really graphic. Yeah. Cut her head off.
He gets like really like detailed about it. You're like, whoa.
That's really funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got pretty good comedic
It's more
time.
adding to that joke, It's adding to that comedic effect.
Yep. And then the other one for this week was Estranged, which is a 9.5 minute beast. So it kind of compensates for the 2 minute hell that is Perfect Crime. It's a different kind of hell.
The best.
Stretches on forever. It's probably one of my favorite Gun songs. Paradise is my number 1. Estranged is probably my number 2.
I might put Estranged at number 1, man. It's just and we've talked about it, like me and you have talked about it, I've talked about other people. It's not the quintessential Guns N' Roses song, but for me, it checks all the fucking boxes.
Yeah.
I just love the lyrical content. I love the guitar work. I love how just everything sounds epic. It's
the perfect length,
whole
too.
Song.
I like that long, like you couldn't make that song any shorter. It would suck. It needs every minute.
You would not get the point across.
Yeah.
It needs the epic long time length too. It makes the song epic, man. It's a masterpiece, dude.
Yeah.
That is a masterpiece of a song. And it's not the pop song. It's not a pop song. It's not let's all have fun and listen to this song. It's not that song, which is why it'll never be as popular as something like Paradise City or Welcome to the Jungle even has like that have fun vibe, So for me, like I understand why it's not the biggest song they've ever written, but for me, it's the best song. I love everything about it.
Yeah, it's perfect. So that one's really fun.
I love some of the stuff they do as covers and stuff like that. I love those too. So those three
next
songs,
week we have November Rain and Locomotive, just those two. So both of those are 7, 8, 9 minute songs.
Yeah.
November Rain goes by way faster than I thought it does. Huh?
Does it? You got Goliath playing piano on it?
Yeah, no, we have Josh now, though, so that's why we did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Josh will play the piano. Yeah. Cool. Hell yeah.
So that's
Axel plays Dizzy doesn't even play the November Rain. Axel comes out and plays it.
Right.
I'm assuming just because he wrote it. But, that takes a lot of elaborate planning to bring out a piano on stage for Goliath to learn how to play.
I don't know how exactly we're going to do that, but I think we're just going to do it. I think Josh is just going to play it and Goliath's just going to sing, and that's just how it's going to be. So
yeah, it'd be fine. It'd be fine. I'm sure that Guns has done it that way before. Something tells me that I'm just sure they've done it that way.
Something goes wrong or something.
Do you remember when we saw them Halloween week before we knew each other, but that night we saw them on Halloween in South Carolina. When he didn't bring out the piano in that one. I've seen him at a lot of shows.
I don't recall a lot about that show.
Yeah, I have some footage from it, but not like everything.
The only thing I really remember is everybody came out in costumes because it was Halloween.
Yes, I remember that. I don't remember if he actually brought the piano out on that one, but
I do remember they opened with Chinese Democracy. I also remember that.
Yes.
Other than that, couldn't tell you.
Yeah, and it was a 3-hour show. I remember that for sure. It was like the full 3 hours.
Yep.
But I don't think he brought out the piano on that one. I just want to say he didn't have the piano on that tour or whatever. It's a lot of work to set up that shit, obviously, and they weren't really like killing it back then. They weren't like as big as they are right now.
That's true.
So I wonder though. And when I saw him in Vegas in the residency, it was every night they floated a piano out over the crowd, dude, and he's playing on the piano, and you're looking up through a clear plexiglass like cool platform.
Well, they were shooting the video.
Dude, it was
right?
awesome. They were shooting that Appetite for Democracy. And the piano was totally like custom painted, like Vegas style. Like it had a little bit of elements of all the gambling things, like it had the roulette wheel, it had the 777s on it, and it was sparkly paint job. Dude, the piano must have cost, I don't even know what the piano probably cost, but it's awesome because it's custom piano, probably made for Axel.
Well, they probably just got a nice piano.
Maybe the Hard Rock owns it,
but I don't know.
Maybe the Hard Rock has it. Maybe they own it,
That's true. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I need to watch that. I really want to watch that video.
If you can find it. I don't even know where it's available anymore.
Probably find it on eBay or Amazon or something.
Something for sure. Yeah, it was awesome. Look for me in the crowd. You'll see me. Me, Kyle, and my friend Randy, another long-haired guy. We're all out in the crowd.
Where were you standing?
So the first night, I was so excited that I worked my way up to the very front and ended up standing right next to this girl that was like singing the lyrics the whole time badly. So it was okay. It was awesome to be right up front. That's where those pictures from Izzy Stradlin actually came from.
Right. So you were kind of on the left.
Yeah, just on the left of the center like catwalk. There's a really short center catwalk. So I was standing right there, and she was singing the whole time in my ear. That wasn't that great. So the next night, or whenever it was, like the night after the next or whatever, because it was a residency. So it was like 2 nights later, I saw him again, and I hung out towards the middle more, like middle section, right kind of the center. So, and the footage is from both nights. So, you know what I mean? Like, who knows where I'll be? I'll probably be popping around in the crowd.
Sure, yeah, or not there at all, because they would have taken footage from that other show too.
Exactly.
Was it just 3 shows, or was it like a week?
Pan shots. No, we came at the end of the residency. That's when they shot the video, because obviously they're all practiced up. They got the show down pat. Then they film it. But when we flew out to Vegas, we flew out for the very end of it, and we were there for the last 3 shows.
What was the venue? Where you said the Hard Rock?
It's called the Joint. Yeah, it's a little place inside the Hard Rock casino.
Cool.
And it's really awesome. It's like built up, so kind of like Myrtle Beach.
House of Blues.
Yes, House of Blues is like that, where they have 3 stories, I think. So it's like that, but it's much bigger, like as far as like space-wise. I don't know how many people it fits. You should look up the Joint Hard Rock and see how many people it fits.
Let's look it up here right now. We can
every night. Every night was packed, bro. And they changed the catwalk setup a little bit for the video, I noticed too. They didn't have as many
4,000.
There you go. So that's definitely bigger than Myrtle Beach, I think. Bigger than House of Blues. I think the House of Blues holds 2,000. 2,500 maybe.
Oh, here it is in it is 3 stories. Yeah, here's a really, really good picture of it.
Sweet.
Here's a good picture of it with people in it.
Nice. The House of Blues you're talking about?
No, the Joint.
The Joint. Oh, okay. Yeah. That awesome venue, man. And everything you need is in that casino, dude. You don't have to go anywhere. I stayed there for a week. We all did stay there for a week. We didn't have to leave at all. I had to leave one time to go buy super glue. My sunglasses broke. I had to buy super glue from CVS across the street. Mm-hmm. It was 105 degrees out there. And been inside for 3 days, 4 days, right? Like not even stepped outside.
You don't even know what time it is. They remove all the clocks and all that stuff. Yeah.
Dude, it's the craziest thing. So I get out, it's like noon or something like that. So the hottest part of the day. And I go across the street. So all I have to do is walk out of the casino, across the street to CVS and walk back. I got back. I was pouring sweat. First of all, I just hadn't been conditioned. I've been inside for the 3 or 4 days, whatever it was, by the time I needed super glue. And, dude, I remember when I got back, I was like, I need a fucking nap. I need a shower and a nap. And all I did was go get super glue for my sunglasses. I felt so stupid.
Quite the errand. But we played our first show as the Journey tribute. We played a casino, and they had it all set up so we had free food passes, walk around to like the food court. Everybody's it was awesome. This setup. And the food passes they gave us were like $75. Dude, we were there for 1 day.
Nice.
Like at the end we were literally like
we got all this extra money.
We were like, yeah, let's buy the ribs. Let's buy like, I don't know, the mozzarella sticks. Let's get a couple order of those. Right. And we still had money at the end. And you're not supposed to do this, but there were these 2 guys sitting next to us. And they looked super rough. Like they looked like they would have just kicked your ass at just for no reason. And I leaned over to him and I was like, hey, do you guys want some, like, I don't know, we have this card. Do you guys want it? And at first you could tell they were like, fuck this guy. Like, what is this? What is this about? And I told him like, yeah, we're the band. We had extra money. We're leaving right now. So if you guys want it, it'll pay for some of your food. And then he just immediately softened up. He's like, oh, thanks, dude. That's awesome. Thanks so much. Like,
yeah. Especially too, like when you tell people you're in a band, I don't know why they immediately change their tune towards you, man. It's so weird. I barely have to tell people I'm in a band. Most of the time they ask me because I have long hair, and you're probably getting to that point too, Dallas. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting, man. It's like they really lighten right up to you. People love music, man. They respect it. Most people.
Yeah. I guess especially if you're an adult and you're in a band, that feels different than if you're like a 16-year-old. It's like if you're an adult and you're in a band, you must be doing okay because you're not dead. Or on the streets, right? So,
yeah, that's another thing too. Is it's kind of it's different for the person being an adult and being in a band. Sometimes I feel like an irresponsible, like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like an adult kid, but at the same time, I know that I'm putting my work in, and I know it's like for something. So I don't know. It's better than just being in a band just because you want to be in a band as a kid and be a ruthless outlaw or whatever. Like do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually doing it for music. I consider myself a musician more than I consider myself in a band. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because you don't have to be a musician to be in a band. We've seen that proven time and time again.
That's well said.
Yeah.
You do not have to be in a music. Dude, actually, Dave Grohl, when he was in Nirvana, his dad told him, he goes, just because you're in a band, don't go around telling people you're a musician. That's what his dad told him, dude. That stuck with me ever since I heard that story, dude. I was like, wow. And I think Dave Grohl said that on like a late night show. He just said it to the host or whatever. He goes, yeah, my dad made sure that I didn't get a big head. He said, my dad told me right away. He goes, just because you're in a band, don't be calling yourself a musician. Which I thought that's true, man.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So you have a real understanding of what music is and how to write songs. And like, music is so vast,
Yeah, I mean, I think there's even great players that shouldn't be necessarily called musicians. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good point.
What does a musician mean? I don't even know, but
I would consider it the creative element of music. I would consider, you know what I mean? Like your creative mind is what makes you a musician.
Right, like creating.
Just playing an instrument.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, stuff to contemplate.
Yep. Did we have anything else on the list?
Just you wanted to talk a little bit about tabs because we're going through all these learning songs and stuff like that. We got into it a little bit about how tabs are kind of wrong a lot.
Yeah, actually, one of my weird little one weird thing I found out that I really enjoy doing in this quarantine is I'm teaching from Guitar Pro most of the time. So my students will say, for example, let's learn. One of my kids is learning the Knocking on Heaven's Door solos. So we pulled that up, and I know how to play those solos really well. So I can immediately see where the tab's wrong. Oh, the tab said this was a slide. This is actually a bend. It said this is a bend. This is actually a slide. All that stuff. So
that comes with knowing Slash too, like knowing his style and knowing because you're a fan. We watch videos of our favorite guitar players. We've learned their songs before, obviously. Interviews, all kinds of. You just learn their style. Like Slash doesn't use a lot of his pinky. He doesn't use his pinky. So if there's something like where it looks like you might want to use your pinky there, Slash probably ain't doing that. He's probably sliding to it or bending to it.
Yeah. And the November Rain solo was a big one. It had a bunch of stuff that was wrong.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all the notes were right, but they were just in the wrong spot. So it had you like up here and then down here and then shift and shift and shift. When really, when I rewrote it, that's what I was getting to. That's my new favorite thing is rewriting tabs properly, and then I save them. And I need to re-upload them because they're just better versions. But when I rewrote that one, it was all in one spot. So it's like, oh, of course that's what he's doing.
Right.
And I watched a video. So for that one, I watched a video to confirm because I was like, okay, is he really doing this? And I watched a video, and luckily it was a fan shot video. Now this is where fan shot videos are nice. You don't change angles.
Yeah, you see.
So you're just sitting there looking at him, and it was the Not in This Lifetime tour, and his hand, whoever was shooting his hand, was on it. They had his fret hand on the TV that was like the size of like a skyscraper. So I'm just sitting there watching his hand, and I can see exactly what fret he's on, everything he's doing, and I went back and rewrote it. I was like, okay, so this is what he's doing. So
perfect, and that gives you reassurance that you're you're doing the part justice too.
Yeah. Well, and usually it makes it easier. When you're playing stuff wrong, it's really hard to do. And then you realize, oh, he's just right here. It's all right next to each other. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That I got a similar kind of thing. When I was first started learning, I got into a real big Van Halen kick early, like on guitar playing. I think Avenged Sevenfold. All right, I consider here's my influences, how I came to play guitar, and then I'll explain where this tab story comes in. I started out by loving Guns N' Roses, and I was like, man, I wish I could play guitar like Slash, right? That was the number one thing, and I got a guitar, could not play like Slash, obviously, so I kind of got out of that a little bit. Then I fell in love with then I fell in love with Avenged Sevenfold and tuned my guitar to drop D, and played that way for a long time, like maybe 2-3 years, played drop D exclusively. Then I fell in love with Van Halen. That's what got me back on Half Step Down. And Guns N' Roses was there too, so it was like, Half Step Down is the way to go. I loved Half Step Down. And I learned all these Van Halen licks. Well, I bought the Van Halen book, and it had like the first 2 albums, all the tab for it. And I was like, this is awesome. I'll never be stumped again, First thing I wanted to learn was Eruption. And just because the implications of Eruption, and I was a kid, kind of dumb, whatever. Open the page up to it. The whole tapping part, the part that is that whole part is famous for, that whole song is famous for, that like the tapping part at the end, was on the wrong string. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way it's on this string. Like, that doesn't sound right. It's not it, right? I looked it up, and immediately the first thing that came up when I just looked up the book, first thing that comes up is like, yeah, the Eruption solo's on the wrong string. Just once you got that, if you fix that part, you're good. But I just thought it was so funny that there's one mistake in that whole book, and it's like the thing.
It's like the part. For, that's funny.
Right. It's good. So wrong string.
Yeah, you're playing it like this does not sound right.
I bet Hal Leonard wishes they could go back and edit that one.
They probably could.
They probably could put a reissue out. Yeah.
I realized.
It's a good book though.
I realized I love playing down a half step because before I knew what that was, all the bands that were my favorite bands played down a half step, and I didn't even know it. So like Guns N' Roses, Alice in Chains, this band called Nevermore, they play on 7 strings, down a half step.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, well, this is amazing. Like every band that I really like plays down a half step.
For me, it was the exact same thing. I just realized that everybody was playing half step down. Even Metallica records their songs in standard, but live when you see them, they play in half step down, which I don't know the meaning of.
It's easier to sing.
Sound heavier, easier to sing. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, whatever their reasoning is, there's a lot of obvious reasons to do it, but I don't know what their reasoning is. I would assume the guitars do sound heavier when it's half step down. Everything sounds just a little bit.
That's true. Yeah, it's deeper. Probably just to help preserve vocals a little bit. Even that half step can make a difference.
Yep, I bet. No, I know that. I know it can. I just started doing, just fucking around with I believe in a thing called Love by the Darkness, which you've played. I know you've played. I've seen you do it. But I was singing to it and playing at the same time. And that song's in standard, but I play in half step down. So I just started doing it in half step down. And I realized as soon as I went to play it standard, like the vocal is so much harder to hit.
Yeah.
Like, God, like even just that half step. So I don't know if it's because maybe I'm used to singing in half step down though too, Or
yeah, that's true. Yeah, one thing that really annoys me, I've played with a couple singers. I don't remember who, so I couldn't say their names even if I wanted to. But
yeah,
they we were like, yeah, we're playing down a half step, and they got so scared. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, you realize it's easier, right? Like, right. What is the problem?
I think, though, the thing that they get scared of is not having practice half step down or not having, because it's a vocal memory.
Right, but if you know, like and I get that to a point. But if you know how the song goes and you're presumably not starting right on the downbeat, you have a second to hear it, start singing. It'll probably work out. Like, it's just that annoys me so much.
Yeah, if you have good ears, if, most singers we work with, like, potentially have that down, have it where you can transpose something a half step down and sing it, no problem. As long as the music's there, you'll just sing to the music. Like if somebody gives you an E note, you sing the E note. You sing to that E note. You're not going to sing the E. If somebody gives you an E flat, you're not going to sing the E.
Right.
Like if you do, then you can't hear because it's going to sound terrible.
Right.
If you play everything a half step off, like this from playing to a backing track that could be half step down, or maybe the backing track's standard and you're playing half step down. If you you don't know that and you go to play it right away and you're just like, oh wow, that sounds bad. Mm-hmm. It sounds terrible. Everything a half step off is the worst.
Oh,
There's no
minor
harmony.
Second. It's the most dissonant kind of harmony.
Exactly. So it real quick, and that's this thing about a singer should be able to just instantly once you fall into that pocket where you're in half step and you're singing to an E flat instead of an E, whatever the note is. Everything should change with it. It shouldn't be like, oh man, I got to think about every note I sing. It shouldn't be that way. It should fall into place.
It's called transposing. You move the whole thing at once.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Any closing thoughts?
No, man. I'm just going to keep chugging away. Everybody out there should be doing the same. Hopefully everybody's taking this time to use to their advantage and come out swinging, That's our advice at the Musicians Talk Show.
Yep.
Come out swinging.
You got it. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good week. Stay quarantined. Stay safe. We'll see you.
Peace.